Hello everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about something actually really exciting that I think is really cool, and hopefully you'll think is really cool too. It's called a Pillet prosthesis, which is an aesthetic prosthesis. There's a little bit of controversy about it because it's aesthetic, so a lot of times it isn't covered by insurances except for maybe workers' compensation. But because it's aesthetic, people are thinking that it possibly doesn't serve any functional goal. Which after doing quite a bit of research and reading some studies and hearing people talk about it online in groups and stuff, it plays a huge functional role, and it makes improvements in their life both psychologically and functionally, which is OT in a nut or in a handbasket. Nutshell, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so why would a person, first of all, need one of these prosthesises? And if you look on my handout, you'll see some photos of them. I wish I had one because they look beautiful, but you'll see also in the cost that they are very expensive. So it's very important to know 100% that the client, will both utilize this prosthetic and it will improve their function and psychological for psychological use also. So back to the question, why would people need these? Okay, so there are several reasons people receive or have amputations. One is an accident. They're at work and they cut off a finger, or they're at home and they're cutting something and they lose some part or piece of their hand. This prosthesis would benefit that person. There's another therapeutic origin, and as we know that would be like diabetes would be an example. Somebody has to lose a certain part of their limb, or maybe a bad nail, they need to lose it because it has cancer or some other diagnosis. So they're dealing with the loss of a limb as well as this diagnosis or prognosis that they have. So there's a lot of emotions going on. And then another reason that it would be necessary would be from congenital. So that means the person had never had the limb or never had the nail. So they're dealing with different issues of something that's part of their body that wasn't there before. So it's very important to take each client very specifically and make sure that it's appropriate for them because of the cost. In most of the research that I did, it is very specific to the person. Each prosthetic is designed specifically for the person using a 3D mold. And each layer of the material is put on very specifically to match the skin, the color, the veins, the wrinkles, everything in the hand. So there's a lot of work that goes into these to make sure that they truly match the skin and they will be as not visible as possible, I guess. One of the biggest reason people report not using them, because it's such an ordeal and a process to get them, it has a very high acceptance rate. So, but the biggest reason is they don't fit right, and people feel that they're going to fall off. So they have progressed in making these prosthesis, to wait long enough till all the swelling goes down, and to ensure the best fit for the client, because that's really their goal, is to help this person feel better about being able to show their hand. Most of the evidence I showed or that I researched or found did improve functional goals. One study, actually, there was a significant improvement in the 3 fingerprint strength. So even though they're aesthetic, you still have a limb there. So even if it doesn't function, you are able to pick things up, and you are able to passively support things using that hand. And a lot of times in the reading that I did, you can't hold something if you don't want to show your hand. So with these prosthetics, a person has a little bit more confidence in reaching out and grabbing something, because it's not going to be as big of a notice that they are missing a finger or that they're missing a chunk of their hand, because they're not missing it. It's there, but people don't necessarily know that it's not real. So it is functional because people are able to use their hand because they're not embarrassed by the stigma associated with the lack of limb. I think that these prosthetics kind of are OT, you know? You have the holistic view of the person where it is important in every aspect of their life. So not only does it have psychological effects, but it also has really important functional effects. I put a picture on there, or on my handout, of a person holding a mug, because you can see that you can do small tasks with these prosthetics, and they're absolutely amazing. I urge you all to like Google image these prosthetics because they're really beautiful. I almost didn't believe that they were prosthetics the first few times that I was looking at them. Dr. Pillet actually started making these in World War II from his mentor. His commanding officer knew his history and education. I mentioned that a little bit in the handout also, but it kind of fell into his lap, and he's been making them since World War II, and making improvements and improvements every time they make something and they see it doesn't work, they improve it, which again increases the functionality of the splint or prosthesis. Let's see. I think that the technology has improved quite a bit since the beginning of them, and different materials. There was a lot of different kinds of materials they use. I believe now they use a silicone for the actual prosthesis, but again they use layers and layers of different colors and different transparencies to really mimic skin, which is, they're beautiful. They're works of art. It's very, very cool to see. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, not a lot of insurance covers these, and they only last 2 to 5 years. People from all over the world use these splints or prosthesis. So they make improvements, and I think that the more evidence that comes out on them, hopefully more likely they will be to be covered more readily by insurances. If you guys have any questions on anything about them, please feel free to email me or ask, on the discussion board. I just think that they're really amazing, and it is important. There are guidelines to what will fit the person, but it's important to be very selective in choosing who will benefit from these because they are so expensive. But when you find a person that they do fit, they make huge improvements in their life. So just in your therapy, when we become practitioners, keep them in the back of your mind that they might benefit somebody, and it might be a possibility for treatment for them. Okay, so thank you all very much for listening to my excitement about Pillet prosthesis, and have a good day.